All right, we should be live here. We're going to wait a few minutes or a minute, rather, minute or two before we really get into the questions here as viewers trickle in here. But for those who are already in, my name is TJ from It Was Never a Phase Cards if you're new to the channel. And we have Dan from Ketchum All Collectibles joining. So thank you to Dan for making time out of his day to come on with the live stream. He has just a little bit of a preface. He has a very successful eBay store, and we'll talk more about that as other ventures that he has as well. But I think over 88,000 sales on eBay, items sold, I believe. Is that correct?
I haven't checked it in a while, but it's probably up there. Yeah, it's been quite a while. I've actually been on eBay for like 20 years, a little bit over 20 years now.
Wow.
Only a little bit over 10 years in Pokemon, but I've been on eBay for a lot of other things before that too.
That is very cool. Wow, that is a ton of and very high feedback as well. I noticed. So you got a good seller there too. So that's man, that's a long time on eBay. What did you start selling on eBay? Was it always Pokemon cards, or was it other stuff before?
You can see some coins above my head. You can see some video games above my head over here. I've done video games. I've done coins. I've actually done steins. There's some mini steins right here. There's some big steins right here. So I've done a lot of different things, but for the past 11 years, it's been primarily Pokemon. And the vast majority, like 90% of my sales, probably volume-wise, would have been Pokemon as well.
So steins, that's like a big that's like a collectible.
Yeah, so I'm from upstate New York, and I live near Utica, New York. These are like the official spokes mugs. It's only been 2 minutes, and I'm already getting the steins out. These are the official like spokes mugs, Schultz and Dooley of Utica Club Beer, which is a very local brewery to me. It's a relatively historic one. It's they're kind of like a big deal around me. Almost any bar you go into, not almost any bar, many bars that you go into will have those somewhere behind the bar up on a shelf. They're kind of staples of the local scene.
Oh, very interesting. See, that's like, I would have never thought, like, okay, well, it's just what, like, roughly, like, how much for like a rarer one, like what kind of like price range are people paying for something like that? Because like, that's one thing where it's like, for me, I'm like, that's so obscure. Like, I'm not going to buy anything like that, but it does intrigue me as to what people would pay for something like that.
It's actually funny. I occasionally will pull analogies from like the Stein market to the Pokemon card market. A lot of the same vintage versus modern, a lot of the same like conditional issues, a lot of the same conversations come up. And it's funny. Back in the day, they used to make them in Germany. They used to make them in Brazil. And a lot of the originals aren't worth as much as a lot of the ultra modern ones, because back in the day, they used to make 10,000 of these. Now they're only making 500 to 1,000 of some of the new ones. And they're made in China. The quality's a lot worse, but they're just harder to get. And so these ones specifically, $40 a piece, maybe. There are some newer ones that are $1,000 a piece. The very original Schultz and Dooley, made in 1959. I want to say those are around $1,000 set. But like it's really interesting market. Though I know I'll probably put everyone to sleep if I talk about it for too long.
not what I expected to talk about to start the stream, if I'm being completely honest. But I'm totally open to it, and I do find that a little fascinating. We will move on. So just everyone who's hopping in right now, we will get to, I'll try and do questions as they come up if possible, but if not, as we get towards the end of the stream, we'll make sure to address them. So if we miss something, just throw it in the chat again. But I did want to talk about this, and I don't know, Dan, if you've experienced this. I know that Walmart implemented a queue system for their drops now, which is good. As far as like a limiting bots and stuff, as far as like, I don't know how much you're getting from like retailers like that, but product hard to source right now for your average collector. So your Walmart's, Targets, Best Buys, all of those drops. I haven't experienced the new Walmart queue, but if anyone in the chat, Zombie Killer's saying it's actually great. And I know that Pokemon Center implemented a queue recently, and I know that that's been controversial. People have been frustrated with that system, but interesting to see that a Walmart system people are excited for.
I heard things about it too. I'm very like online. I listen to a lot of YouTube content. I'm in a lot of Discords, so I heard about it, but I don't personally really buy from Pokemon Center. I don't buy from Walmart, Target, any of those stores like that. I do stuff at a pretty high volume through like live selling. I don't do it directly, but I have a couple people that stream for me. And the scale at which I need packs is not really satiated by spending an hour in a queue to buy like 2 ETBs or something.
Sure.
So I think it's great. I think it's great to like get them out more broadly to the people who want them at MSRP, but it's just not something I engage with personally. So I don't have any firsthand.
Yeah, no worries. Let's jump into, for those who don't know, also anybody who's interested, Dan's channel is linked in the description. Should have a clickable link if you want to go check out his content. Make sure you subscribe and show him some love. But let's talk about your Pokemon history, just to give people a little bit of a background. We were talking a little bit before stream about this, but let's give the viewers a little bit of like kind of where you started and how you came back and where you're at, just roughly when you re-entered till now. And I just got to give a shout out to Ben. What's up, Ben? Happy to see you here in the live stream. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll stay very brief on the re-entry. I was in 5th grade in 99. Typical like 90s kid. I was the target demographic. I played Yellow. I played Crystal. I didn't watch the anime a ton, but I collected the cards. Like most people, I got out at some point in like the gym era, somewhere in there, Gym Neo. And I got back in 2014. So I moved out of my parents' house in 2013, a couple of years out of college. I spent a couple of years living with my parents after college, saving up a down payment for my first house, paying off my student loans, all that good stuff. And I just kind of like moved tons of boxes and totes. And just so happened, a couple months after moving must have been, I was going through stuff and I found my childhood binder. I thought I had it. Oh yeah, I have it right here. So a lot of people will have a story of like, oh man, my parents in a move, they threw it all away. It went to a storage unit and it got thrown away, whatever. I had all mine. And
that's very cool.
Right now it's complete. So it's all unlimited and it's base jungle fossil. But when I first found it, I can't remember the specific hollow. This was one of them. I know there was like 3 or 4 hollows that I was missing. One of them was Wigglytuff. And so 2014, it's like, hey, I found my childhood binder. Some people immediately think like, hey, what's this worth? Can I sell it? That was part of my mind. Part of my mind was like, is this worth anything? And I ended up seeing it's like, I probably got $100 there, or a couple $100, or I don't remember exactly what it would have been. But instead of going that way, I went like, hey, I can buy the Wigglytuff I need for $2, $3. I can buy this card, that card. I think I spent like $20 finishing the last few slots that I hadn't filled. And the rest was history. I remember I individually bought a couple hollows and put them in the slots. And then I found like a lot. And it's like, why buy Wigglytuff for, these are made up numbers, but why buy Wigglytuff for 3 when I can buy a lot of 20 hollows for $20 or $25 or whatever? So let me buy a bigger lot, pull out the ones that I need, sell the excess, and then keep the ones I want to keep for free. So that was where like I'd already been on eBay for 10 years. So I was already very in tune with like buying, selling, shipping. The ease of shipping a Pokemon card, substantially easier, if you can imagine, than shipping a ceramic Stein. So I fell in love quickly with the process of selling Pokemon cards on eBay. And I, next 11 years, I'm at where I'm at now. Just slowly buying, building my collection, selling off the excess. And then I became a net seller in 2020 with the boom. 2021, I went full time. So like I'm very much a net seller now.
Okay, gotcha. And so then when did the YouTube side of things come in? Was that 2020 as well when you started on YouTube?
So it was late 2020. Actually, okay. I went on a couple friends' channels, kind of like I'm doing right now. I went on a couple other people's channels before I had my own. I went on Jake from Pokenomics, and I went on John Pokemon Radar. I don't know if you know those guys. Neither one is currently making content, but a few years ago, they used to make quite a bit of it. And I really enjoyed it. I still love these conversations today. And I kind of got the bug. I'm like, why don't I start doing that on my own? My friend Nick Old School Pokemon, he reached out to me. I think I was not his first choice. A couple people told him no first, but he reached out to me and he's like, hey Dan, you want to do a podcast? And I'm like, that sounds like a great way for me to start my own YouTube channel. So it was early 2021. Actually, I just crossed 4 years actually on YouTube. So early 2021, I finally created the channel. Part of my mind too, March 2021, I started the channel. I was halfway out the door at work. I was pretty sure I was going to be quitting my job later that year. So part of it was like, let me get my name face out there. Let me try to build more of a brand. And that I'm glad I took those steps, because 4 months later in July, I put in my 2 weeks and I quit my 10-year engineering job to do this full time. So
very cool. Very cool. I like that. So when you started the channel, then was that the whole purpose to help funnel towards the business? Like, since you already kind of knew, like, you were kind of, jumping ship per se, like, was that the goal of the channel, or was it just to make content and have conversations and talk about cards with people?
It was a little bit of everything. It was part of me, back of my mind. It's like, I knew the upside potential. Not that I really hit the upside. I've been on YouTube for 4 years, and I would still deem my channel a success, but I'm at like 7,000 subscribers. Some people would deem that a massive success. Some people would deem that like, oh my God, he's only got 7,000 subs after 4 years. But I knew that like the upside potential, there could be something big there that would help with my business. I didn't really know how it would fit in exactly, but I just figured it's like, it can't hurt. And I really enjoyed the conversations I had in the fall of 2020 with a couple friends. So it's like, let me start this podcast and let me just document my journey, see where it goes. And I'm very glad that I did it.
Okay, very cool. Speaking of YouTube goals at the start, I'm just curious, because I always like to ask this. What are your current YouTube goals? Like, has that shifted, or it's still kind of just the same thing, just chugging along, doing its thing, or has that shifted at all?
My goals, like it's dangerous to set like I want to get like you had CTR on recently, and great for him. Like, he had a goal of getting a play button and he got the play button. If I made a goal of getting a play button, sadly, it's probably something I'll never achieve. But thankfully, I didn't set that goal. My goal was truly like, let me just press record. Let me see what happens. Let me see what this can grow into. And it's more like, I'm very much about being consistent. I'm very much about like having a set schedule. I post every Monday at 1 p.m. I went from recently, I was doing 1 weekly live. Now I'm doing 2 week, or every other week I'm doing a live. But it's like, when I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And I'm more like, I want to put out content that I feel good about, content that I feel can hopefully educate people, entertain people, whatever it may be. And as long as I'm having fun with it, as long as there's some amount of growth, it might only be 80 subs in the past 28 days, might be 200 subs in the past 28 days. But it's more like a process-based, journey-based goal of just having a good time and getting, I definitely do get like my direct benefits as far as AdSense and things like that. It's not much. It doesn't pay a good hourly wage relative to my work in actual Pokemon. But as far as like the enjoyment and as far as the intangibles, like I run a consignment service where a lot of my consigners solely trust me and know me because of my YouTube channel. They see my name, my face, my channel. It's like, this guy's not going to run away with my cards, right?
Sure.
So a lot of indirect intangibles that I get monetarily from the channel.
Gotcha. Yes, that does lend a certain aspect to it. I see. Real quick, we had Max Steele saying the Walmart was super smooth. Definitely got it right, which is really nice to hear, just compared to Pokemon Center being controversial with the queue system. So that's really nice to hear. I'm actually looking forward to trying to get a few of those drops. Joey Bax has a question for you, Dan, saying, what is wrong with the hobby?
I think he's saying I am what's wrong with the hobby.
Oh, Dan is what? Oh, I am so sorry. What?
No, you're fine. I'm interested to like elaborate,
sorry,
Joey.
I misread that. But what? Yeah. Wait, what is wrong? Just out of that went a totally different way than I was trying to take that. But what? Sorry.
No,
Joey,
you're fine.
What? What? Yeah. Could you elaborate, though? I mean, maybe we can dive into this a little bit. But what is wrong with Dan running a business? And actually, this was my next question. If we can get a response from him, but I did want to ask about the business side specifically that you run, because you're doing fairly big numbers, like you said, consignment, tons of eBay sales, and then like Fanatics. You're on Fanatics Live. Is that where you have multiple sellers on there? Correct. Okay. Can you elaborate?
Yep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Fanatics Live is like the main engine currently so I've been full-time going on 4 years now. The first 2.5, 3 years, my main thing was eBay. My main thing was primarily buying collections. So what I used to do is I used to buy collections and I'd keep what I wanted for my PC and I'd sell the excess. And I learned that like, hey, I can collect for free. So from 2014 to 2019, I was basically just collecting for free. And 2020 came along, the prices got crazy. A lot of the stuff I built, like I still loved all my cards. I enjoyed them all, but the market just valued them more than I did. And the skills that I had built, buying things, grading, selling them for a profit, which maybe some people take issues with. Maybe that's wrong with the hobby for some people. But these days I've pivoted more into live streaming, and I buy packs in mass. We've been ripping. I've got a guy live right now on Fanatics. We've been ripping 4,000 to 5,000 packs a week, and I understand. Wow. I understand the sentiment behind selling above MSRP, scalping. Like, I understand the high tensions, and maybe that's some of where the commentary came from. But if someone genuinely wants to give me criticism, and I feel like I can stand by what I do, and I can logic and reason and rationalize, not that it needs rationalizing, but I can just talk logically about why I think it's entirely reasonable to do what I do. Every night, PK Ponga, they go live, and willing buyers come in. Like, we sell packs. We sell packs for 105, 110% of market, because we have platform fees, because we have things like that to cover. I have to pay the streamer. And every night, like, people are just having a blast, having a great time, ripping packs. It's not the most financially sound way of like building a collection. I will never tell somebody like, hey, come into our stream, spend $1,000, you're guaranteed to make money. Like, that's just not true. If you want to go to my channel and you want to like hear me talk about, I'm constantly talking about like building a collection on a budget, the right way, the cheapest way to do it is never ripping packs. Like, I will be fully open, honest, transparent about what it is I'm selling. And so, to some people, as long as they are interacting with it correctly, as long as they're interacting with it in a healthy way, I think it's entirely reasonable. One analogy that I do is like, I actually enjoy gambling. I go to the casino from time to time, and I go with a budget. It's like, I mean, I'm a sports fan too. I might go to a Rangers game and spend $300 going to a hockey game, and then my team loses, and it's like, I just evaporated $300 to watch people hit a rubber puck around an ice, right? Like, why can't someone go into a live stream and spend a couple $100 and try to chase a Charizard from 151, or try to chase a God Pack from Prismatic? Or it's like, sure, you can do it cheaper ways, but you can also do it this way too if you want to. So yeah, that's a little bit touching towards that comment. A little bit just telling you about what I got going on.
Sure. So you said it's two streamers that you have that under you for that, or is it three?
Two for Pokemon. One I just started. He's done 2 streams so far for MetaZoo. So he's doing one day a week for MetaZoo. But we're live. We're live every night, 7 nights a week. They took off Thanksgiving. They took off Christmas. They took off Easter. So they're taking off the major holidays, which is entirely reasonable. But we're live every night, and then we're live 5 days a week as well. So it's and we're selling like 4,000 to 5,000 packs a week. We're on pace to sell almost 250,000 packs in 2025. That's
wild. So do you think, well, potentially Joey didn't get back to us with any sort of clarification, but do you think that part of, I guess maybe what he was getting at was just the amount of packs that you're going through is affecting, like, you're taking away from the market somehow? I mean, like, so I'm just theorizing, but like, you know, Rip and Ship's obviously becoming really massive. They're growing. Tons of people are branching out and starting to do it, and it's becoming very popular. And, you know, I have seen some people, you know, theorize that, you know, I don't know. Well, you do have distribution as well. Distribution, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, that's not really taken away from your average. You know, you're not, like you said, you're not going to Walmart and Target and buying up these packs, right? They're coming from
that's the thing.
Sourcing or the secondary market, I would assume, in a lot of cases, to source that many packs.
I think the best criticism someone could give is that Dan's buying. So I don't go to Target. I don't go to Costco. You're not going to see me in a video elbowing kids out of the way, elbowing grandma.
Yeah.
That's not me. But honestly, like, some of the people that I buy from might be doing that. I don't entirely know. I know some of my biggest sources they're buying internationally, and then they're shipping to me. Like, they're playing like a geographical arbitrage thing. Some people, like, a lot of the people that get packs, some people that I'm buying packs from today might have just scored some packs in the Walmart queue last night. So I don't entirely know where they're getting it from. All I know is it's legitimate product. Some amount of people are other people who have wholesale access, who have distributor access like myself. Some people, they get them at their local store, they get them at their LG, like wherever they get them from. I don't know exactly, but oh, here we go. He's got a comment, but I was just gonna say I haven't read his comment yet, but I hope he comes back, and I feel like I can easily defend any potential criticism. So let's see what he's got.
Yeah, we'll pull it up. I wasn't trying to bring up any drama. I genuinely just misread that question. So I don't know if there was some sort of drama thing that had been happening. So address it how you will. But since it came up,
as far as I know, I don't believe I'm in any hot water or in any major drama. But
because
I did have like a good debate back and forth with my podcast co-host of 4 years, and it was not like a high stakes. We're not like mad at each other. So you pressed Old School Pokemon about him selling some inventory for around/under MSRP, and my logic was if people will pay it, you shouldn't sell it for less. Nick proceeded to say that there's an integrity component. So that's actually an interesting conversation because Joey Bax must actually watch PokeFlips, or he saw a clip of it at least. I don't know if he's a regular watcher or not. But what Nick does, so we're two different businesses. Nick and I have both been in the hobby for over 10 years. And with Journey Together, he opted to sell Journey Together for MSRP, which honestly I think is great for him. Like it's like he bought it for wholesale, just like I did, around the same price. He made a lot of money selling it for MSRP. I made more than that selling it for market. And the way that I justify it, the way that I think it's entirely reasonable, rational, and fair to do is that I said I buy it now. I said, well, actually, you know what? Interestingly enough, Journey Together, we auctioned only. So release night of Journey Together, Friday and Saturday, release weekend, we only auctioned packs. I didn't even set a buy it now price. So literally we started everything at $1 and then the market paid what the market paid. So maybe it would have been more moral. Maybe it would have been more fair to like say, hey guys, please don't bid this high. I'll just set a below market buy it now for you. But my thing is like, so Nick does his strategy. He sold out the second night of his streaming. And then night 3, night 4, night 5, for like 3 weeks, he was sold out. I still had packs. So this is like the whole debate of, and I guess I won't name anyone in particular, but like I've heard game stores that have channels. It's like, do you want me to have zero inventory or do you want me to have like a good stock of inventory that's a little bit higher price? I go towards the route of I'm in the business of live streaming. And when someone comes in, I want 151 tonight. I'm always going to have it. I want Prismatic tonight. I'm always going to have it. I might not be selling it MSRP. I might not be selling it like under market, but I will always have the big sets in stock. And the only way I can keep the big sets in stock is to sell them for market or slightly above. So that's my whole take on it.
Okay.
I guess that's to some people. I understand the sentiment. I understand why people don't like it, but I literally don't set the price. I go to TCG Player. And every day there's thousands of people transacting at those prices and I put them into my streams and we sell 4,000 to 5,000 packs a week. So I'm using the market's price that's told to me by the market. And I promise you 11 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 4 years ago, when boxes were $100 a box, I was selling for those prices too and barely making any money. It's like I'm riding the wave and I know, I promise this is not going to be like this forever. It's only been 2 sets in a row. 2 sets in a row have been above MSRP at launch. Surging was not. Surging was below MSRP. So this will pass. I promise you. I promise you, Joey. I promise everyone else. This will pass. There will be sets that I will be streaming under MSRP because market price is under MSRP.
Okay. Moving forward off of this, just everyone in the chat, like, let's just have Dan obviously is open to having the conversation. We're not going to do name calling or anything like that. He's open to having, an adult conversation. So whatever you guys want to address, he's happy to address it, but let's not do anything like that. BDT just said, I just went over this in our Discord, rather have it and then be pissed about the price than pissed that you don't have it and go to your competitor. So, I see. I understand what Joey was getting at, I guess, with some of this, but
yeah, I understand the argument, and there are other businesses, and some people will say like, well, I'm not going to buy from you, and I say that's entirely fine. Like I never tell people what to buy, what to sell. I never like beg for people to buy from me. I say, hey guys, my guy's going to be live tonight. The packs are in the buy now. If you want to buy it, they're there. If you want to hang out and you want to see people rip packs, great. And if you don't want to be anywhere near it, that's entirely fine. Like I'm fine with people choosing to not sell to me, not buy from me. That's entirely fair and fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
It
buy from
sounds,
live streams either. I'm not a live stream consumer either. Some people are and some people aren't.
Yeah, I'm not personally either. I don't buy from Rip and Chips because for me, if I'm going to rip packs, I want to rip the packs, right? So I want the enjoyment of opening the packs. That's just my take. But yeah, so let's see. Where was I going? I had a thought. I had a next question lined up, but I totally lost it. Let's talk about. Let's see. Yeah, never under. Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone, guys. I never understand paying someone to open packs for you. That's fine. Oh, here's where I was going. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, go where you're going.
And then just real quick before I forget. Sorry.
Yeah.
I remember when Prismatic first came out as well. I was watching someone, I don't know, I think it was on Whatnot. Anyways, they were just doing the same thing you were doing. They were putting packs up just for bids, and the market was paying, $25, $30 a pack. That I get the frustration as well, and I think a lot of that comes from just product not being available, which I think is more of a Pokemon company problem, not printing enough to meet demand. But like at the same time too, like if it's up for bid, like people were paying $30 per pack for Prismatic. They weren't setting the price. The market, the people are like crazy for that. So I when it comes to auctions like that, there's so. I mean, I don't really blame the auction side for that. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yep. And so tonight I'm not drinking a beer. Sometimes I'll have a beer in a live stream. But I think a very good analogy to this is like I can sit in the comfort of my own home and I can drink a $2 IPA and I can watch the New York Rangers or the New York Mets play a game on my TV for functionally free. Let's not get into the cost of cable subscriptions and all that. But if it's a televised game, I can drink $2 IPAs and I can watch a game for free. 4 weeks ago, I went to Madison Square Garden to watch the New York Rangers play a game. The same game that some people drank $2 IPAs on their couch and watch the game for free. I paid $300 to go to the game and I bought $20 IPAs at Madison Square Garden. I didn't know it was going to be $20, but I got up there. I bought a couple beers and it's like $40. It's like, oh my God, what did I just do? But it's like, there are people who have different values, and this is capitalism. I didn't make the rules. I just play by them. And as long as people aren't lying, cheating, stealing, it's like people have different value systems. People have different things that they want to buy with their money. And who am I to say what's right, what's wrong? Like me personally, aside from my sports teams, aside from my like Pokemon, things like that, I wear the cheapest clothes, the cheapest shoes. To me, it's like when I see someone wearing a $200 pair of Nike shoes or Jordans, or I don't even know what like fashionable shoes are. It's like, why would people spend $200 on shoes? I feel perfectly comfortable in my $25 Walmart dad shoes that I wear. And but I don't go like harass people and say like, oh my God, I can't believe you bought $200 shoes. Look at my $25 shoes. These are perfectly fine. It's like, I'm not going to go into a sneaker collector's live stream and say like, I can't believe you guys are crazy spending thousands of dollars on shoes when you can get perfectly fine ones for $50 or $30. You know what I'm saying? It's like some people buy $1,000 snowboard and some people like, I don't want to freeze my butt off on a mountain paying $200 for lift tickets and $1,000 for a snowboard. And it's like, I want to sit in my kitchen and drink coffee on a cold winter day. It's like people value different things. So I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell people.
Yeah, no, totally. All right, so I think we kind of addressed that. We'll transition away from that and go to a few other questions. If it comes back up, happy to. Kennedy says, do y'all think Pokemon really is mass printing? I don't believe they can actually print much right now since every 3 months there's something new. This is something we talked about in a few of my live streams more recently as well, so it'll be interesting to get your perspective. But like I'm kind of, when they made an announcement, at Prismatic release, saying, and a few times they've done it on their socials, Instagram and other places, saying, we're printing more, we're going to print more. But like, how much more can they really print? They do print the facility here. It's in, I think, North Carolina. They print other TCGs, right? They print tons of other stuff. They can't just bump people out. And like, as far as like expanding, that's not something you can expand overnight. Building a new building or buying a new facility and then getting the printers and getting it set up. all that doesn't happen that quickly. So like, can they, I guess my question to you is off of this, like, do you think that they can actually print enough to meet the current demand?
I think the current demand can be very fickle. Consumers can be very fickle. And I think it's going to wane at some point. I think they're smart. I think they know it will wane at some point. So I think they're intentionally not printing enough for like what today's demand is. And
Yeah.
maybe they can't even feasibly do that. We know actually every June, so next month, we should get them to release the corporate number from the headquarters in Japan. They have a website where every year, I think last year they printed 12 or 13 billion cards. So we don't know yet, but we'll know next month ish. I bet they will have printed about 13, 14 billion cards last year. And I bet they're on pace to continue printing about 1.2, 1.3 billion cards every month. Will it be enough? When will it be enough? I don't know. One thing I constantly have been saying in the past few months on my channel is, guys, like, breathe. I understand. It's like we want the cards. We love the cards. It sucks that things are above MSRP. And some people will say, oh, Dan, you're just saying that. That's just noise. I promise you, I don't get allocated nearly enough of every set for my distributor for the rate that we're selling. Like, I have to go into the open market and buy so many packs. I would rather things be under MSRP, because right now I'm buying Prismatic. I'm buying Prismatic at $11 a pack to stream it for like $14 a pack and make a little bit of margin. And at some point, like, it might get reprinted down to $5, $6, $7 a pack. And people say, oh, no way, Prismatic's too good. I can't guarantee it, but I am as confident as I can be that Prismatic will be available under MSRP. So will Destin, so will Journey. Every set in Pokemon's history, almost 30 years, every set in Pokemon's history has been widely available under MSRP at one point or another. And I think they will continue that. And oh, well, it's too good of a set. My pushback on that will be 151's better. Crown Zenith's better, in my opinion. Very, very subjective, obviously. But
Sure.
Crown Zenith was widely available through the end of last year in Sea and Sky collections at every Costco across the country. And 151 Ultra Premium collections were widely available at every Costco across the country. They were everywhere last summer. So I know it's hard. I know it's like, Dan, I want it now. Patience is tough, but impatience is expensive. So my name is Ketchum All Collectibles. I promise you, you don't actually have to catch them all. If it's too much money, take a break, take a pause, buy some of the older sets that are maybe rotating out of print. Like, and I think, not to like try to talk down or anything, but I think a lot of the people that are getting the most like fired up about all this haven't been around very long, and they just don't know that this is like a seasonal, temporary thing. I promise you, this is not forever. I promise you, like, Prismatic, Journey, Destined, 3 sets in a row coming out above MSRP. That has never happened before, and Pokemon will fix it. It might take time, but they will fix it. I promise.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. It's I mean, like, here's the thing too. What I see a lot, I don't know how much you see on your channel, but I see tons of comments of people saying, just came into the hobby or just got back, started ripping packs with my kid, whatever it may be, right? Like, there's so many people coming in now, right? Which is, like you said, it's a horrible time to be coming in, and I feel really bad for the people who are. And there's so many people that they bounce off, right? We're seeing people at a high rate bounce off or take a break. And I think that, like, kind of like you said, there's nothing wrong with taking a break. There's nothing wrong with going to other sets. It can be frustrating. Like, I've been with everyone as well too. Like, you know, I have no distribution access, so I'm kind of in the average crowd, right? And I go to my Target on restock days, and I've waited in line, and I've saw the MJ holdings there ready to stock, and I still didn't get anything. Right. And Pokemon Center queue, and I was in there for hours. So, like, I get the frustration, but yeah, if you've come in just now and this is all you've seen, I totally understand. And the frustration is valid. Right. But, yeah, I think we just need to give it some more time. Like you said, these sets will be printed for a while. Right. And things are starting to drop. At least, I mean, right now we're seeing like kind of the summertime slump. At least a lot of singles. Sealed still doing pretty good, but some sealed even starting to drop. Currently.
Yeah, and I never tell people like what to buy, what to invest in, what to sell. I always just tell people what I'm doing and why. And
Sure.
I'm kind of mostly past. Like I still collect some cards here and there that are meaningful to me that I open at an event or whatever. But if I were coming in today, knowing all that I've learned over the past 11 years in Pokemon, I would look at Destined and I would see $9. It's going to be $8, $9 a pack. Instead of buying Destined, like there's a 30-year beautiful history of over 100 sets of Pokemon. That same $9, instead of using that on a Destined Rivals pack of a set that, and sure, maybe it goes up forever, maybe it never comes down, maybe it never gets reprinted. That's possible. Highly unlikely, I think. But
Hmm.
$9, that'll get you a pack of Crown Zenith, a set that's like 3 years old, that is very unlikely to be printed again. That will almost get you, it won't entirely get you one, but like 151, a set that's 2.5 years old. That will get you several different Sword and Shield sets that are almost certainly not going to get any more reprints. So I actually have had some friends with this boom that we're having right now. I had some friends from high school recently reach out to me and they're like, Dan, I want to get Prismatic. Dan, I want to get, and it's like, if you want Prismatic, I will sell it to you. I would, if I were you, I would not buy it. I would instead buy XYZ. And some of them, they bought Prismatic, and it's like, it is what it is. They're adults. They're doing what they want to do. Some of them were like, yeah, Dan, I feel like I hear what you're saying, and Crown Zenith looks like a cool set. I actually, back in January, I sold like a couple hundred packs to a couple different buddies, $5-6 a pack, Crown Zenith. And hindsight, it's like that set jumped 50%. And in the meantime, when Surging has fallen and Journey Together's falling, and like, I think the trend will continue to be down for most of those really new sets. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm currently in the mindset of, because like I had, at least for my personal, what I was trying to get, I went lighter on Journey Together, kind of more of a mid set to me. I don't hate it, but it's just a little bit more mid. And I was saving up more for Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals so expensive right now, right, that I'm gonna wait. Hopefully those prices drop. I'll find better entry points for Destined Rivals in the future. But I was looking to pick up some more stuff, so I'm going back to Sword and Shield. Like,
Yep.
even so, leaning it into a little bit of more of the sealed investment side, sealed collecting, whatever you want to call it. Fusion Strike boxes at 500, I still think is a no-brainer for me. At pretty much any of those good Sword and Shield sets, even Evolving Skies where it's at. But a lot of those sets is kind of stuff that I'm targeting personally, because like you said, you're pretty safe, and sealed supply on those is only going to go down over time, and the value is going to continue to rise. So that's kind of where I found myself just going back to more Sword and Shield. Also buying singles right now, a lot of singles tanking. So the collector side of me is enjoying that. But leaning off of that, I did want to talk to you, because you have been doing investing like a whole palette or multiple palettes. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain on your sealed investing side. Like, what's been your mindset, and what are you putting in, or what do you want to divulge as far as like how that's been working out for you? Because I would assume, especially with the boom factored in, those are working out really well for you right now.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm actually going to be doing an update video in the next few weeks on my channel. I started this little venture with my dad. It's funny, like there's the saying, like once your barber starts talking about it, once your parents start asking you about it, that's when the top is in. That's when it's all down from here. But a year ago, me and my dad started this joint venture. He has the storage space. He has half the capital. I have half the capital. We spent a little over 40 grand on a pallet. It was funny at the time that I put them away last May. It was a lot of Scarlet Violet cases, and the amount of comments that I got of like, oh, Dan's pawning off crappy Scarlet and Violet sets on his dad. It's going to be dead money for years. They're going to, and now all those things have more than doubled. So I'm going to follow up on what the prices have done in the meantime. And so last May, we all at once, we built one pallet because there was just a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, sub $100 boxes left and right.
Yeah.
And then every month since, roughly, we've been doing like $4 grand total. So like $2 grand each a month. So in the meantime, we've built another pallet. We're on pallet 3 now. So we're starting year 2 and we're starting pallet 3. So yeah, sometime in the next few weeks, I'll say like, hey, this is entirely what's on. I've never seen someone do that. So one thing I think YouTube is full of, it's full of people like, look at these lines on TCG Player. If you bought this, it would be worth this. If you did this, it would be worth this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say I did this and it's worth this. And I'm going to show you a picture of the palette, and I'm going to show you the journey. I timestamped it. I documented it. And it's like, if it goes south, I'm going to be here. I'm not going to delete the videos. I've never deleted a video on my channel, and I hope I never have to. I don't know what would cause me to have to, but surely shame would never be it, because there's a chance, there was a possibility when I started that video, the palette could have been down 25%. We could have been in some recession, depression. We could be in a dark time, and I could look really silly. And some of those commenters who said Dan's pawning off Scarlet Violet on his dad, that could have panned out to be like, yeah, hey, they're all down now, they're illiquid, but it's not the case. And one thing I've done over the past 11 years I've been in Pokemon, I've always set some back. So I've always set back, like, it used to be a couple boxes of every set, then it got to like a couple cases of every set. But one thing that's happened is, like, I think a lot of people will say, I'm going to hold this for 5 years, 10 years. And that used to be me. If I held anything for 10 years, I'd just be selling my first boxes like today. I'd be selling, like, if I held for 10 years, today I'd be selling Evolutions. I'd be selling like Phantom Forces. I'd be selling Sun and Moon Base and Rebel Clash, and I'd be selling all those sets, right? Or sorry, not Rebel Clash, Sun and Moon Base and Guardians Rising and sets like that. I sold them all way sooner. Because they went way higher, way faster than I expected. So part of what this palette is that my 11 years in the hobby, I've always said I'm going to hold for 3 or 5 or 10 years. And I've never been able to successfully do that. But with the palette, I'm forcing myself. I literally took them off site, out of mind. They're stored with my dad. They're wrapped up in deep storage, and I'm not touching them till 2030. I am forcing my hands to be diamond hands, and I'm going to see what happens.
So
I think
2030.
it's a fun experiment. Yep, 2030 is when I'll open them up, and maybe I won't just liquidate it all. Maybe I will. I'll reevaluate then, though.
Sure. Okay. Well, I really like that. I like, I'll tell you what I like. I like the transparency. First off, I like the receipts. You're showing the receipts. And you are correct. That is not really something that you see on the YouTube side. I think people would be probably really shocked to see how much a lot of especially the bigger creators who have been in the game for a long time, probably pretty shocked to see how much they're sitting on and holding as far as sealed product goes. But, investing in general, which, is kind of something that people have deemed as part of the problem as well. And I would say that I do think it's at, an all-time high when it comes to the number of people that are putting away sealed boxes. But in the same breath, kind of like what you were saying, I think people move on from them rather quickly. Right. And they don't have that dedication. Like you yourself even said, I wasn't able to hold them for as long as I had intended. And I think a lot of people do that. Right. So then they move on to the next owner, whether they get ripped or not. But what's your, to dive into that a little bit, obviously you're doing it. Do you think that, like, how much of the investing is a current problem, or is it not really that big of a deal? And it's just everything, a combination of everything that's going on.
I think the way that I've been kind of describing it is investing is absolutely happening at the highest levels it's ever been in the hobby, in my opinion. I'm extremely confident in that statement. But simultaneously, more packs are being ripped than have ever been ripped. Like look at the pull rates on the Moonbryon. 1 in 1,000 packs, 1 in 1,000 packs, 2,000 packs, depending on who you ask. Look at the pull rates on the Moonbryon, Sunbryon, whatever you want to call it, from Prismatic Evolutions. And there's like 10,000 of these things rated within months, within a year, and they're 1 in 1,000 pull rates. So that's millions of packs. That's millions of packs being opened to get those cards out. And so 2 things are happening. It's being invested in to the highest level it's ever been, but it's also being ripped to the highest level it's ever been. So you have the unstoppable force, the amount of demand. I'm ripping 4,000 or 5,000 packs a week on Fanatics Live, and the immovable object. It's like, who's going to win? I don't know. Junk Wax, 1990s Sports. I feel like it's Beanie Babies, like the things that are kind of talked about from time to time as like a cautionary tale. Beanie Babies didn't get consumed though. And Junk Wax had the issue of like 20 different manufacturers doing it, whereas Pokemon has the one manufacturer doing it. 20 is probably way underselling it. Junk Wax had like 100 different manufacturers making sports cards.
Yeah.
So I think and sports cards were the same. They were not being consumed in the same way. The amount of like complete sets that were being sold, and you can go on eBay and you can see those complete 1995 Donruss, whatever it was, complete sets selling on eBay for like $10, $5, whatever. But yeah, it's interesting to see how it will all pan out. And I think YouTube is plagued with a lot of people. It's kind of, some people might not like it, but I feel like it's a pretty apt description. I think there's a lot of cosplay investors out there who just like talk about it theoretically and show these charts, and like they act as if they're doing it, but they're not actually doing it. They're talking the talk. They're not walking the walk. So I just wanted to put some content out there from someone who's actually engaged in it, walking the walk, showing you the whole walk transparently. And I'll either crash and burn and do that very publicly and spectacularly, or I'll succeed very publicly, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I really do appreciate the transparency. I think that that's great for YouTube and for the hobby in general as well. Where do you see, like, from currently where we're at, where do you see us going, like towards the end of the year and then moving into like early next year, we're 30th anniversary, right? And then do you think we're going to continue to like continue this all the way to the anniversary and keep going? Like, what are your thoughts on that as we move forward?
I see a lot of, the 30th anniversary. Like, I see a lot of people saying Destined Rivals can't fail because it's so good. And generally looking at pre-order prices, like I generally agree that Destined Rivals is going to be very successful. So I have two distributor accounts that are over a decade old. I got, say, X amount of Surging. I got 10% less of Journey Together, and I got 10% less again at Destined. So I got less Destined than I got of Surging. And we don't know the whole set yet. We do know Glory of Team Rocket. We do know Heatwave Arena. It's going to be some kind of a mash of that, right? But we don't know the whole thing. I feel quite confident that Destined will be very strong out of the gate. But as I said earlier, caveat, I think it's going to be widely available under MSRP at some point in the next 2.5 years. So whether that happens before the 30th or after the 30th, I have no clue. But I generally would say that, and you know how much this pains me to say it. It is like, to say that, like, it blows my mind when people say like Journey's crashing. Like, Journey came out at 250, 260, and what's it now, like 210? To call a set that's a month old as $200 a box, to say that has crashed, or to say that that's like falling in any way, like that doesn't happen. I've been here 11 years. I promise you, sets are never that expensive that quickly. So like, some people would say, if Dan says that boxes are going to be widely available under MSRP later this year, well, that's a massive crash. To me, it's not a crash. To me, it's like, it's an unhealthy market, but it's less unhealthy. Like, I think it's unhealthy. I agree. Journey, Prismatic, and Destined, I think it's unhealthy. But I think what's also unhealthy is like $90 boxes at release. So I think we're going to be somewhere. It's a massive range, but we're going to be somewhere between $90 boxes and $300 boxes. It wouldn't surprise me for some sets to come out in the fall that are $130, $140. I really think things, honestly, some people are saying like it's never going to happen again. It wouldn't surprise me to see a $99.99 booster box by the end of the year. It might not be Destined, it might not be Journey, it might not be Surging, but I would not be surprised if Pokemon will get some boxes back available under at $99.99, because consumers can be so fickle. Oh, I don't remember Scarlet and Violet. I don't like the hats, and everyone hated the hats. SV1 through SV5, it was like, oh, it's dead. Pokemon investing is dead. Sword and Shield's amazing. Scarlet and Violet sucks. And now you blink and all those boxes are $200. It's like, the market's so fickle.
Yeah, people can change quickly. Yeah. The crown. Yeah, that was the crowns. Everyone hated the crowns. And then things turned around. But speaking, to double back just to Destined Rivals just for a second, as far as just the collector side of you, like, how do you feel about the arts that we've seen? Like, for example, the Mewtwo. I've heard it seems kind of controversial. To me, I think that art is great, but I've heard like it's like a Macy's Day float Mewtwo is what it looks like. I've heard, I don't know if you've heard that, but like, how are you feeling like about just not price wise, not availability, but just like the quality of the set, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's a solid set. I'm very much a Kanto kid, so
Yeah.
I'm very Kanto oriented, and Team Rocket is like my team. Like forget about Team Skull, Team Magma, Team Aqua, Team Rocket is the team. They are the one team. So I'm all for it. I'm pretty hyped for it. I think the prices are silly though. Me
Yeah.
personally, as like a collector, a consumer, this wasn't a thing back when I was getting in, but if it was, I would not be touching Destined as a consumer. I would take the gamble that like I think this will get cheaper in the future. And honestly, it might sound crazy, but I think people could see logic and reason behind it. I would rather pay $500 for a box of Destined 2 years from now than to pay 300 today as a consumer. Because like in my opinion, there's a better than 50-50. There's a better chance that it's going to go down. Look at what Journey's doing right now. Look at what Surging's starting to do. Prismatic just got a reprint. Another caveat to throw in. If you can get it at MSRP, I think trying to get it at your local LGS that sells for MSRP, trying to get it from old school Pokemon on eBay Live at MSRP, I think that's all reasonable. That's all fine. But paying 300 it would be too much for me as a consumer, as an investor, as anything. And I say that while simultaneously, like launch weekend, there's going to be buyers. I'm going to be selling for that. I'm going to be selling for a price that I personally wouldn't pay. But that's just again, I'm not setting the price. That's the market's price. So I think it's crazy, but I'm not going to fight it. I'm gonna sell for what's there.
So would you agree that, let's say, we're talking under the assumption mainly for an investor, not somebody who's going to rip the boxes, but if you are investing looking at Destined Rivals and you are worried that it is only going to go up, would you, or that it could go down, right? Would you suggest like dollar cost averaging into it? If you're going to buy now, you're going to want to not unload everything you got right now. Because if it can come down, then you can at least dollar cost average and feel better. Because like I said, I'm not buying at 300 a box for Destined Rivals. I'll just wait. And like you said, I'm not looking forward to I don't want to pay 500 a box if it gets to that point kind of thing either. But I tend to agree with what you're saying of it's going to be available at a better price at some point. But like for the people that like have to have it now and are so worried, like, I mean, would you even say like get a few boxes now and then dollar cost average as it goes down? Like, is that a viable approach in your opinion?
I think the answer comes with the answer is almost always it depends. There's always shades of gray. There's always nuance. So if you're someone who invests in 20 cases of every set, I think it's reasonable to buy 2 cases and then be ready to dollar cost average up or down or whichever way. If you're someone who buys 1 box of every set, I would personally wait. If I were that guy, I would skip. I would wait. If you buy 1 case of every set, you can't buy a half of a case, right? You either have to buy the whole thing sealed, or like there's no partial doing that.
Sure.
So if you buy 1 case or 1 box or 2 boxes, I would entirely skip it. I would entirely wait. I would rather add a case of something like some Sword and Shield set, Astral Radiance or Brilliant Stars, or at roughly the same price. That's me. That's personally. I think it would be a better risk adjusted bet. And that's not a guarantee. That doesn't mean it's going to outperform. There's a chance that the Destined comes out at 300 and by summer it's 400 and by Christmas it's 500. I don't think that chance will hit, but there is a chance. I think what's more likely is that it'll be 300 when it comes out and 250 in the summer and 200 by Christmas or something. Like obviously those are just made up numbers, but I think that's more likely the price trajectory. So if I buy 20 cases of every set, maybe buy 1 at 300, maybe buy 2 more when it goes to 250, maybe buy 2 more when it goes to 200, if and when it goes to 150, if and when it goes to 120. And when people tell me, Dan, it can never go to 120, Evolving Skies went to 120. Surging Sparks came out under 120. Every set ever has been available for under 120 per booster box, as far as I understand. And I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't that long ago that Fusion Strike, I wasn't really even regarded as like a top tier set. It was very affordable. It's funny how like just a little bit of time in the grand scheme of things, and card values start to go up and the set starts to rise, and sets are looked on completely differently.
Yep.
So it can be kind of wild.
It's very, very fickle. Yep.
Yeah. What do you have going back to what do you have currently? I was just out of curiosity in your like personal collection. Like what does that look like? Um and like how often you said you're adding like cards like from that you pull at conventions and stuff like that, but like are you actively adding to your PC or like what does it really look like currently? Besides your binder, we saw your childhood binder, which is super cool. I don't have any of my childhood cards, unfortunately. So yeah.
Yeah, so I grabbed a different binder. I actually bought a slab binder recently. I have like gifts from over the years. A lot of them are not like super valuable cards. Like some of them are just Secret Santa gifts that I got with like some swaps that I do with people in different forums and discords, and like some cool Gengar cards. These are actually
Okay.
the only, they're was this Ace or yeah, these are Ace graded. So just some random cheap Gengars and Haunters. I've got some I've got some Metazoo cards. We don't need to go into Metazoo. This one actually is really personal to me. I went to Vegas back in 2020 and I bought into a charity box break where I opened one pack of Unlimited base, one pack of Shadowless base, and one pack of base set first edition. So I pulled a non-hollow last from my Unlimited pack, and I pulled a Shadowless Charizard that graded a PSA 8, and I pulled a Magneton base set first edition that graded a PSA 9. So like these are
Nice.
cards that I personally pulled at an event, bunch of friends, a lot of people that I met for the first time ever there, a lot of like great relationships forged at that event. I've actually got it's crazy just to show you how long I've been around. This was a Secret Santa gift back when it was a $40 card. So I was in a Secret Santa where it was like minimum $30, maximum $50. Somebody got me this because it was a $40 card. And now it's like, that's like $2,500 or something. I just tipped over, luckily an empty drink, but it's crazy. And then the one card that like, it doesn't necessarily have like, I didn't pull it. It doesn't have like any tons of meaning. My favorite art in the hobby.
Let's go.
I
can
think
be
you talked
friends.
about it, didn't you? Your Grail's a PSA 10 of this, right? I
That's
only
my
have a
Grail.
9 myself, but back in the day, I used to be like a 9 collector. I always found my peak value relative to the market. Like 10s, I like them. I like having a less damaged card, obviously. Bigger number, better. But my best value was always like the 9. I think the market overvalues 10s relative to how I do. And a couple white dots on the back. I don't look at the back of the card. The back of the card is the same as every card, right?
Right.
I look at the front, and this thing is beautiful. It's a beautiful, clean hollow. I love crystal. Takes me back to the Lake of Rage when I caught my first Shining Gyarados.
Yeah.
My favorite artwork in the hobby. So this is like, there's no story behind it other than it's my favorite artwork in the hobby. I wasn't even in the hobby when this came out. I was already out of, I think I quit collecting at like one of the gym sets. So I didn't even have any Neo cards in my thing. But so
that's
those
very
are
cool.
a couple. Yeah, those are just a couple of random cards. I probably only add a few slabs a year. Like I'm not substantially adding to my my personal collection these days. But you can see like I appreciate the art, the canvases from the Pokemon Center. I collect like the Pokeballs, Master Balls, things like that. Bunch of random things. I do have one gray felt hat Pikachu that I kept from the big flip that I made on that sealed case. But
any master sets?
I used to do. I actually have outside of my office. I have a big cabinet there. I used to have a goal of having a master set. Well, I don't do reverse hollow, so a complete set, not a master set. I used to have a complete set of everything from base set all the way to, I used to do it in the XY era. And I don't know if you know this. When I first got into the hobby, my first goal getting into the hobby was opening every box, every set. And I did it. I opened Team Rocket Returns. I opened Aquapulse. I opened Skyridge. I opened one of everything. Back in 2014, I started. 2017 or 2019 was the last box. 2017, I think. It was quite a while before the boom. So 2017 was the last box. EX Crystal Guardians, I believe, was the last box that I opened on the way to my goal. But along the way, I was putting in pack fresh cards that I personally opened myself. Every set, obviously, you open one box, you don't get the whole set, especially these days. But I would fill it out with singles, and the boom happened, and it's like that cabinet is worth that cabinet was worth $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever, and then it was worth 20, and then it was worth 50, and then it was worth. It's like I can't justify. I ended up paying off my house. I ended up like paying off debt. It's like I can't justify having this much. Like I would love to. Part of me would love to still have everything, but
sure.
it's too much. Like we're on set number 100 and whatever, and there's like
Yeah.
50,000 different cards, and I just can't do it all. It's too much.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I know. And like, especially if you start with Japanese, as well too, like if it's just, they're releasing, it seems like every month there's a new set. Almost.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's insane.
I know that in the past, you've done a lot of grading, a lot of big grading plays, like mass buying, grading, flipping. Are you still currently doing that? And like, also, what are your thoughts if you are with like the PSA slowdown that's kind of happened recently? They've increased their return times and up prices. Something we saw during COVID as well. But how is the grading side of things going for you, and what's that looking like?
Yeah, I've in the 11 years, I've graded well over 10,000 cards with each CGC and PSA. I've graded a few thousand with Beckett, but not nearly as much. I'm grading as much as I ever have, but I'm doing it in a different way. So I'm big with Fanatics now. I do still do eBay a little bit. I mostly have somebody else do that for me. But I send my raw cards, instead of sending them directly to CGC, directly to BGS, directly to PSA, I send them directly to my Fanatics account, and then they get graded through them, and then I sell on that platform. So I am doing that quite a bit with CGC primarily. I'm also doing it with PSA, but big thing, it's just supply and demand, like anything else, right? Like right now, Journey Together, Prismatic, Destined Rivals, the ones we've been talking about, they're crazy expensive. They're above MSRP, Destined nearly double MSRP, and it's just the sign of the times that we're in. PSA, they were trying to grade for what, like 12, 13, 14 about a year ago. And slowly it went from turning cards around in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then it was 5 weeks, then it was 8 weeks, then it was 10. And you got to raise the price. You got to increase your supply and or lower the demand by increasing the cost. So they're doing a little bit of both of that. And I think it's smart. Some people are like, oh, why don't they just keep it $10? Why don't they keep it $12? There's a risk. There's a risk of doing too much and kind of like devaluing the brand. If you pump 20 million, 30 million slabs out every year, as opposed to the 12, 13 million they're already doing already, you run the risk of like at some point you might do too much. And not as dramatic as the junk wax era, not as dramatic, but you could have like a junk slab era. And to an extent, like that's a thing in sports. Absolutely. I think we'll get there in Pokemon. I think there'll be a time in Pokemon where there's a lot of slabs that go for under mint in PSA 9. That's already a thing. Sorry, under raw near mint in PSA 9. And that's already a thing with certain cards at certain times, but I think that will become more of a thing over time.
So like when it comes to like say Journey Together, right? Like whatever, the Lily's Clefairy or whatever. Are you like, so those cards go for big numbers in PSA 10, first to market, whoever's getting first to market. Are you grading at a higher tier to get those through? Are you avoiding that, or just whatever, you push it all through and like trying to, because that can be, by the time you get it back, if you submit at the lowest tier, right? And then if 3 months later, whenever you get it, right?
You don't know what it's going to be. I generally go for the lower tiers. I have in my time, I've graded some of the first to market things. I used to play that game a little bit. I don't play it as much anymore. So I I've made a joke, like back in Chicago, Collecticon, I actually bought a sealed case of gray felt hat Pikachus, 400 gray felt hat Pikachus. The higher the pop, the higher the demand, the higher the liquidity, the better. So I target a lot of promos. I target a lot of mass printed promos. And I do set cards from time to time, but I don't do a ton of the first to market. I'm not quick enough. I don't have the desire to like play that game. I more want to do scale. Not that you can't scale that, but it doesn't lend itself as well. I'd rather buy like 1,000 of one card all at once. How's it going, Mimic Brew? Other Dan.
Yeah, we're encouraging the rambling here. We're letting him go. We're trying to soak in some of this knowledge. So we're on the.
There's no way to prevent it entirely.
Yeah, we're just letting it happen. We lean into it. No, we like it. We're here for it. You've been in the hobby a long time, and we want to soak up as much knowledge as possible. So, yeah, that's what we're here for. Okay, so that makes sense. So you grade what you grade. It's not necessarily too much of that. So that makes sense. How do you feel like now that we know, well, we don't know like the last set of Scarlet and Violet. I mean, we know it's going to be black and white, right? But we don't really know anything about it. And we still haven't got Destined Rivals. But like, how do you feel looking back, like retrospectively, on Scarlet and Violet now compared to like when we started? Has it got like, because, you know, it was looking pretty dim when it first started, right? A lot of hate, a lot of really cheap booster boxes, $70-$80 boxes when it came out, and then things like ramped up 151, but although slowly. How do you feel about it now, like looking back, like maybe comparatively to Sword and Shield, like kind of where does it sit for you?
I'm so bad at all that. Like I'm so bad at picking favorites, and I'm so bad at like set picking. I'm not like a stock picker either. I'm an index fund guy. I just buy a little bit of everything. Like I've joked before. I don't have like a very refined palette when it comes to art or anything. It's like
Okay.
I like that card. It's cool. I can
Yeah.
tell you that like I like the Shining Gyarados better than I like any other artwork, and I can tell you sometimes that like yeah, this Gengar is cooler than that other Gengar, but I'm not amazing at like this whole era is so much better because I think they're all fine. I think they're all fine. They're all fun. They all have these different little things. The trainer galleries versus the ARs and the IRs, and I can't even keep straight what all the different acronyms are. But
Yeah.
overall, I think they're all really solid. I've been in every era since I jumped in at Phantom Forces was the newest set when I got in. So XY, Sun and Moon, Sword, Shield, Scarlet, Violet. I like them all. I like them all a lot. They all brought different things. I kind of follow the joke that like the newest set is the best set of all time. So I guess if I'm following that joke, like naturally, Scarlet and Violet is the most modern block, so it's the best block of all time, and the next one's gonna be better. I say it jokingly, but also like I kind of believe in it too. I think artists are innovating in the way in which they draw things, and they're getting a lot more frequently. They're doing like back in black and white era, the full art going outside of the little tiny art box at the top. That was a novel thing. That was new. And now the different texturings and the shiny full art textured things. And it's all fun. It's all cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate it all for what it is.
I know that like moving forward, we're getting megas are coming back, right? And so I've been kind of looking at, the more I look at the megas, covering them in videos and picking some up, you know, it makes me excited for like, because the art I feel like has just continued to go up and up, like what the new megas are going to look like. Because I like even the old ones, like they look cool. I like the text coming across, and so I can't wait to see like the next evolution of like how they take that. So I think that aspect is super exciting moving forward. Snackbread did have a question, which actually I think is a great question. How in the world were you able to find a box of 400 gray felt hat Pikachus?
So the story that I heard was there was a they were distributed in Netherlands or whatever, primarily. There was a store that was supposed to distribute these that ended up going out of business at around that time. And I heard that the people that bought it bought like a closeout auction. I don't know. I kind of think of like Storage Wars. I don't think it was a Storage Wars situation, but it was some situation where these things got bought out, inopportune timing of a business going out of business when they were sitting on a gold mine that they weren't aware of, I guess. And I bought it from that individual. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Okay, gotcha. Mimic Brew says cheap and looks good is my motto. It's not a bad one to go by. Goodyear TCG says, what do y'all think of Silver Tempest versus Brilliant Stars? That's gonna.
I think they're both solid sets. You got Lugia, you got Charizard, like Lugia and the Silver Tempest. You got Charizard and the Brilliant Stars. I'm not a master of like naming the top 10 hits in order of all the different sets, but I think they're both solid sets. I'm not smart enough to know which one's gonna do better, so I have both.
Yeah, I absolutely love that Charizard from Brilliant Stars. I say, in my opinion, art's subjective, but that is the best Charizard art we've ever gotten. And I still don't understand how it is so cheap, in my opinion. And I think that obviously Silver Tempest Lugia, top tier art. It's kind of similar to the Shining Gyarados in my, like, you got the guy in the boat, right? And it's like a darker theme. I love that card as well. But I think set wise, I kind of like Brilliant Stars a little bit more personally. You have multiple Umbreons, multiple Sylveons, Mimikyu. I think that Brilliant, you can't really go wrong with either, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, that's just like, yeah, some people will agree, some people will not. They'll say they don't like that art as much, but that's why art's subjective. But I will die on that hill that is the best Charizard art of all time. That's my hill card.
And they're both, I honestly couldn't remember. I'm bad. I couldn't remember if I knew Brilliant Stars had a trainer gallery, but Silver Tempest does too. So as far as like pull rates, as far as like opening experience, I think they're generally similar enough that I think they're both solid sets. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the trainer gallery Silver Tempest wise, besides that, the Rayquaza is really nice though. But after that, it's maybe a little bit lackluster comparatively. It just doesn't have quite as much depth, although the Blazikens are nice. But then after that, for me, it kind of falls off a little bit. So yeah, maybe a little more depth on Brilliant in my opinion. But yeah, that Lugia is just so good. It's enough to carry the set like forever. People will rip boxes and packs forever just chasing that Lugia. So you can't really go wrong with that. Lost Origin having the best trainer gallery. Yeah, Lost Origin has a Charizard, has a Gengar. Yeah, Lost Origin is another amazing set. Sword and Shield, really good. Let's see. That is most of what I had written down for topics to cover. So if anyone else in the chat has any other questions that you'd like for us to address, feel free to put them in now. We'll try and take as many as we can. Mimic's leaning Brilliant. But let us know if there's anything you want to address, or Dan, if there's any topics that you want to bring up specifically, we can jump into those just kind of as they trickle in. One other thing, I mean, we talked about it a little bit before stream and a little bit during, is we are still I noticed just recently, as far as like singles starting to drop, like Surging Sparks, that Pikachu just now, at least on TCG, is definitely under 300. Looks like most recent sale at 294, and I see a listing at like 275. So that Pikachu is another one of like a lot of cards like that. Mew, the Bubble Mew, singles continuing to drop. It's an interesting time. I don't know how, like, I can't speculate as to how far they're going to drop. And like my take on the Pikachu from Surging Sparks, it's not a card that I like would want to buy at that price, but if it continues to drop into a more like reasonable price for me, is kind of like when I would start looking at picking it up. But it will be definitely interesting moving forward, just to kind of like see how the singles go. JT has a question here. I want to go to my first card show. Any advice?
I'm assuming this is as a consumer. So
I think so.
Yeah, go with a fixed budget, as you should always do. Like know what you're after, know the prices, make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of or whatever. Like I've definitely seen some booths where there are $50 TCG player cards priced at $100, and you'd rather have your money go as far as possible, right? So you'd rather get the things for around what they're going for elsewhere. Cash is king, I will say. Most vendors, if they have a card marked for 100, if you pull out a credit card, some vendors won't even take credit card. You're most likely to get the best deal, most likely to get the best wiggle room if you've got cash money. So yeah, those are a couple of my, and maybe bring some snacks. Maybe have a big breakfast that day, because convention food is often not spectacular. So maybe a couple granola bars to get you through the midday rush.
That's actually really good advice. The food, for real.
Yep.
Yeah, I would also say on top of that, a few things. One, watch vendor POV videos. Watch a few, right? You understand how the negotiations work. Especially if you're uncomfortable, if you've never really done it, it can help you know kind of how the back and forth goes. And then two, if on top of setting a budget, which I think is really great, but bring some cards that you're wanting to trade. If you have anything that you want to trade, bring that, because it makes it can make it a little bit easier. And then bring like a chart, or have it on your phone. Price your cards out before, morning of or night before. Go with your eBay last solds and then put this is 90%, this is 80%, this is 70%. So you can have it be a little quicker and be like, hey, like, this is 80%, because they're not going to buy, everything at a, you're not going to be able to sell or trade in at those rates. So you can already know what to expect from them and where they're at. So you're not getting like taken per se, but that would be my advice.
It's really important to know your prices too, because I've been to over 10 Collecticons at this point. Sometimes the internet is amazing and sometimes the internet is awful. So adding to like the whole cash thing, there's been times where I've seen people trying to pay with Venmo, trying to pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever. And the internet just doesn't work there because there's so many people in one place. And I've seen people like have to have a deal fall through because they couldn't do the PayPal, they couldn't do the Cash App or whatever. So cash is big there. And as far as like knowing your pricing, hey, I want to get that beautiful Charizard from Brilliant Stars. I want to get XYZ. Like, know what the prices are because you might not be able to pull them up on the fly.
Yeah. Mimic says go closer to close on Sunday for smaller crowds and better deals. Bring junk slabs to trade for raw mint copies. Solid. PokeChef has a question for Dan. What's next for Fanatics, and what do you have planned for your anniversary stream?
Anniversary stream on Fanatics won't be till October, so that's a ways out still. I might do like another base set box for that. So January we did a base set box, and then we're doing in May we're doing Rocket First Edition. Every month in between we did WotC in sequence. We did Jungle Fossil Base 2. So I don't think we're going to continue that over the summer. I think the Gym Challenge boxes will be kind of tough, and then the Neo boxes would be extremely tough to break on a live stream. So it'll probably be like a base set box. It'll probably just be a bunch of big slabs. That's probably going to be the goal for it. We'll see.
Okay. Let's see. Questions seem to be drying up a little bit. So anything else that you guys have, feel free. Otherwise, we might start wrapping it up. We did go. I usually try and go for. Oh, go ahead.
Fine if I ask you a couple quick?
Sure. Anything you want.
So I only got turned to your channel in the last few weeks, I think, and I watched a couple of your live streams.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I know like a ton about you.
Sure.
And it's going to be repetitive for probably a lot of the people watching from your following. But
That's fine.
Can you talk through what your main collection goals are? I see a lot of different variety behind you. What's going on there exactly? And if you can just cover some of that.
Yeah, sure. Happy to. Actually, what's funny is people don't often ask that a lot of me. So, and I don't like want to bring it up just to be like, hey, this is what I like, but I have touched on it quite a bit, but at least as far as the streams go. So yeah, I started, well, obviously I got back during like COVID times is kind of when I kind of got back into it during COVID. And then I realized fairly quickly that I was all over the place. And I didn't have like a direction that I wanted to take things. I was just ripping packs and I was losing a lot of money. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very expensive. It was just going out. Yeah. Yep. And I realized rather quickly that if I just buy sealed boxes and I can finally, like, I had wasted thousands of dollars and I finally got to the point where I had the self-control to not rip boxes. And that's where I kind of a little bit got into the sealed investing side. And I just wanted to relive the nostalgia of my childhood, collecting those cards that I don't have my childhood collection anymore. I wanted to get back to that and just the enjoyment of opening cards and having cards. And then I got into the graded. So currently what I have right now is like 70% of what I have roughly is sealed booster boxes and mostly PC ETBs, some other ETBs and other stuff as well. That my plan, if I can hold to it, is 5 to 10 years on most of that stuff. But what I didn't expect is to actually enjoy collecting sealed. At first I was like, I don't really care about the boxes. It's just the cards I wanted. But the more I got into it, I really actually enjoy so I think there's a lot of sealed that I'm going to keep, as well as a collector that I just want to keep forever in my PC, which wasn't something I expected. And then obviously getting into graded cards. I haven't graded in a minute, but I enjoy the grading process as well. Something I really kind of fell in love with. I like doing pre-grades, which I used to post more of, pre-grade videos and all of that stuff. Hopefully I'll get back to that in the future. But I liked grading cards. It was very rewarding. I was selling some if I had duplicates on eBay. It does feel good to sell, make a little bit of money, and keep putting it back in, churn and burn. And so my plan is, we talked about the Shining Gyarados. That is my Grail card, first edition in a 10, preferably. I would settle for obviously a lesser one and then maybe work my way up over time. But yeah. I've fallen in love with a lot of the modern cards. There's a lot of modern cards on both sides, but on this side as well, of just PSA 10s that I've bought. And so I buy some sealed, sit on sealed to go up in value. And I also went to Japan last year, picked up so I have a CD promo Charizard in a 10 that I picked up in Japan. So that just commemorates my trip. It just was like the most, it's a great memory. Right. So, Gyarados is my favorite Pokemon. So right now I'm still working through, I picked up some Gyarados first editions, in the 9. Actually, we talked about that. You were talking about the 9 value, right? So you get a lot more bang for your buck with the 9. And that's something that maybe I'll upgrade over time as well. But I'm currently just collecting and investing in sealed, and then also slabs. I do have singles. I want to do more master sets, but there's just I only have a limited income here that I can dedicate. I would love to do more master sets. I just completed 151 master set recently. I was just missing a few common cards actually, but completed that. I got binders. I got tons of stuff to I'm kind of all over the place. But yeah, so I don't know if that answered the question, but hopefully, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, very cool. Me personally, it just got so cumbersome. Combined with my journey of wanting to open every box, which I eventually did. It was like a 5-year process. I also wanted PSA 9s of everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. At one point I had every legend card, every prime card, every old school EX, every gold star, every WotC first edition holo. I had everything in PSA 9. And it wouldn't have been remotely feasible. It wouldn't have even been remotely possible to get all that in PSA 10. So that's part of why I picked PSA 9. But to me, it's I had some of the same displays that you have. I think they displayed about the same amount of cards, and it's I got them up, and I don't have a ton of wall space, and it just got to where I had 1,000 cards, and I could only display 50 at a time or whatever. And then the market price just ran away from me. And it's I really enjoy all this stuff, but I guess all these other people just enjoy it more than I do, because it's I love you. I love you, PSA 9, unlimited Charizard, base unlimited Charizard. But it's I loved it when I bought it for $100, or when I graded it and it was $100. And now it's over 1,000. And honestly, 2020, 2021, I sold my original personal collection one for $6,000. It's at sometimes the market will just ebb and flow in a way where the things that you valued more than the market at the time that you set them back, it just runs away from you at times. And I say this sometimes is it's a journey, it's a process. And I feel like I have reached the summit of a lot of different peaks. And I'm not a geography guy. I can't name a ton of different mountains, but it's I reached the summit. I took a picture, and then I moved on to the next thing. Me selling off my gold star set allowed me to buy my first #1 Pikachu trophy card. And then I don't still own that anymore. I sold that. It allowed me to propel my business to the next level. So a lot of these cards, it's I get a hold of them for a while. I appreciate them. I enjoy them for the time that I have them. But I oftentimes just have to pass them on to the next person to continue my process of going through the hobby and getting and experiencing different things, because it's there's just so much. It's crazy. There's so much.
Yeah, I mean, I when I had Cool Trainer Ryan on recently, and he was talking about banners and displays and wall clings and his clock from like 2001 that's like this crazy, like there's so much. And then like don't even get me started, like another aspect I want to get in. Oh, there we go. Okay.
You want it to go?
Yeah, can you?
I don't think I have the sound on. I don't know. I don't think it would get it wouldn't get like copyright or anything, would it?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so. How do I? You want me to turn the volume on or no? Or volume off?
Let's do it.
Hopefully I don't break it. Let's
check
see.
out how cool this is.
It's got like 3 or 4 different songs, I think.
Yeah,
but
that's so cool.
So when I sold a couple of my trophy cards to TCA Gaming, if people know who Rusty is, this was a part of the deal, because it's like I was selling one of my PC things that I thought I'd have for a long time. Market ran away from me. This is one thing I'll never sell, or I mean, at some point, maybe when I'm 80 or something, and it's like I'm over this, but I'm gonna keep this for a long, long time at minimum. But yeah, very, very cool. I don't even know what they go for. I know during the boom they went for like some crazy, crazy numbers, but I think it's a lot more meaningful to me who I got it from, the story behind the trip. I remember going to Charlotte Collecticon and that whole thing. So it's literally like I have 3 monitors. It's right here. I see it every day. And it's it's funny, like when I'm live on YouTube, I see these, but I don't look at these that often because I'm usually facing this way. But this is like one of the pieces that's always in my view.
Yeah, that's very cool. And there's like so many other avenues to collect, right? And you can just, there's like so much weird stuff and unique stuff. And then like I've been wanting to, I haven't done it yet, but I've been wanting to get into like get back into games, like, you know, and that's like a whole rabbit hole as well. Like, you know, I have my original blue and gold here, but I don't have the boxes or anything. So like, you know, it's a deep rabbit hole. You could go down it pretty quick. But it's just fun to collect so many different things. Mimic Brew's got some. Sorry, go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just gonna say I have I'm like a hoarder. So I spent from 2014 to 2019. I didn't really take any money out of the hobby. It was all like all the money I profited buying, selling collections off, I put back in. I have like sealed Pikachu cameras. I have sealed old displays from Toys R Us. I have all the battle figures. I have all the battling coins. I don't have like it all super accessible, but like I've got Pez dispensers, and I've got like definitely not everything they've ever made, but I've got a lot of different goofy, silly, crazy things. It's and the thing is, like, this aside, this one is quite expensive. But a lot of them aren't worth that much, and I just value them more than the market does. But when it comes to a lot of the 2.5 by 3.5 inch cardboard rectangles, for whatever reason, the market just values them a lot, in my opinion. So it's like I'll keep some of them, but I can't keep them all.
Yeah. You got some real praise coming from Mimic, saying real talk, Dan has the best advice and perspective. Wish more people were watching this. So yeah, guys, if you haven't seen his channel, like I said earlier in the stream, it is linked in the description, so you guys can go check out his channel, throw him a sub, watch some of his videos. So yeah, some real love from Mimic Brew there. And then back to the sealed thing. Ronan was saying, I don't get sealed collections. Like, it's still cool artwork after the plastic is removed. Why not open the packs and display the cool boxes? Do you disagree? Does it not look equally good? I don't know. It's just like
I used to have one of every sealed pack for like I had every artwork from base onward, and I couldn't afford to keep one of every box. But I at one point I had one of every sealed ETB. I had Plasma Storm, I had Plasma Blast, I had all of them, and I sold them back in mid Sword and Shield era. Actually, it was when the first PC ETBs came out. Now that I think about it, it was the ones before they did the promos. It was Chilling Rain. What was it? Chilling Rain? Because they sent like the wrong amount of packs, and then they sent those extra packs later to like compensate for shorting people the 2 packs or whatever. But anyways, one thing I like about sealed is like, let's see the ones behind you. You have it's so hard to make out even what sets are what, but
so yeah, ETBs, Prismatic, Lost Origin, and then up here For booster
bunch of Sword
boxes,
Shield boxes.
it's Brilliant, Silver, Evolving Skies, Lost Origin, and then it's Scarlet and Violet up top. Let's see. Oh no, we have an Astral, Twilight, Paldea, and Temporal.
The nice thing about boxes is that like that evolving, there's a Moonbryon in there until you open it, and then you
Right.
realize there's not, right? Like it's like Schrodinger's hit
Yeah,
card.
exactly.
Every one of those, you have a master set. Not really, because there's not physically enough cards in there, but like they're like their opportunity. They're what could be. And usually when you open them, there's disappointment, especially the older the box is, because usually it's more and more negative EV. So I really like a sealed product for the possibilities. And once you open it, usually it doesn't pan out to what you thought it could have been. And yeah, so that's my take. But that said, like I still have the empty boxes of every box that I opened. I still have my empty legendary collection and my empty, and I kick myself for not having kept some of those sealed, obviously in hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, everyone like they're still great display pieces, right? Even after they're opened, but it just like a little bit of pride too, because it took me a long time of like to have that strength to not open them too. So it's like, yeah, they're sealed, right? And I want to open them. Trust me, I want to rip them all open, but I don't. So sure. So yeah, and then like also sometimes keeping empty boxes. In general, like old gaming console stuff, like keeping the boxes, they do make great display stuff. JT was saying that they just joined the stream. Oh, see?
There's the Skyridge that I opened.
Skyridge.
There's a fossil one. This whole I've got them folded flat.
Okay.
But this is not all of them, but I opened some pretty wild boxes.
Oh man, let's go. That is so cool. Yeah, see, I would love to have even just the empty boxes personally. Yeah,
and
Quapalis.
I almost so during the boom, I remember I was talking on YouTube about having opened every box and how I had all the empty boxes. I had someone reach out to me, and at some point, like a lot of these boxes have a decent bit of value because this is like a $50,000 box. I, at some point, might sell my empty box collection. Part of me doesn't want to, but it's also
legendary.
Like, I turned down somebody who offered me $5,000 for all the empty boxes back in the boom, and it's like, man, that was crazy to turn down. I think it's still worth about that, but I love like I wish I had a YouTube channel at the time, like back in. I think I bought this for like, I think I paid $2,300 and now it's like a $70,000 box or whatever. But I casually ripped this in my living room back in 2015, 2016. It's like, that's insane. I was doing insane things. Collector Boy Dan was quite the guy, quite a crazy individual.
That's so wild to say, like looking back at it now. That's insane. Yeah, that's so cool. We already talked about this a little bit, but JT was asking Grail cards, Ultimate Grail Chase, and I think we were both on the same page. Dan already has his. Correct me if I'm wrong, unless there's another one.
That's my favorite artwork.
Oh, that's not your Grail.
If I could have any card in the hobby, I think the most historic card, like a lot of people go towards like the Pikachu Illustrator, I think. Well, a lot of people go towards PSA 10 base versus Charizard. I was never like a huge way above my pay grade anyways. But if I had the money, if I had the opportunity, I would pick the 1997 #1 Pikachu. So the original Japanese trophy card from the first tournament. I would pick that. And recently, actually, some of the sales, the market's kind of agreeing. Some of the sales have actually been higher for the 1997 Pikachu over the Illustrator recently.
Wow, that's wild. That's so cool. Okay, so that would be the one.
That would be my Grail. Yeah, and I as far as like the most valuable Grail that I've ever owned, I used to own the 2014 Full Art Pikachu like World Championship #1 trophy. I bought it from the winner back in 2020, early in the boom. I like I said, I sold my Gold Star set and I bought that trophy Pikachu, and I really enjoyed that card. I really liked it, but I liked it for the price that I paid. And then the market went bonkers and it went like 10 times what I paid. So I just had to move it at that point.
What's been like what was your biggest purchase either of sealed or a single like it was what was that like? And then like well, and if you want to talk about then what you ended up selling it for, but like how much have you like what's the most you spent in like one I guess or in one transaction, however you want to slice it.
Yeah, I think I've spent 50 a handful of times now. I bought 2.5 years ago. It was in the winter, late 2023 or late 2022, maybe even. So 1.5 or 2.5 years, I can't remember. I bought this massive binder collection. It was like 50,000 cards for $50,000. It was nuts. It was mostly Pokemon. Probably half the value was Pokemon. And there was like gold stars, there was old school EXs, all kinds of cool stuff. And then it was like Dragon Ball Z, a lot of score cards, a lot of Naruto cards. It was like grails from all different TCGs. Literally like 50 different TCGs. It was insane. That was really cool learning about Naruto, learning about Dragon Ball, learning about like Yu-Gi-Oh, these other TCGs that I haven't really dealt with a lot. So that one was one of my biggest singular buys ever. Most cards I've ever bought in one fell swoop. I've bought a handful of other collections in that vicinity lately. I've bought some like sealed inventory collections, investment buyouts, whatever you want to call them. I've bought those more recently. The single most expensive card I ever sold was the number one Pikachu, and I bought that in 2020 for like 20K. I bought it. So anyone who knows what these cards are, the trophy Pikachu card, it used to come with or it still comes with, they used to be Champions Festivals. Now they're called Paradise Resorts, but it's like it's the trainer card that comes with them. You used to get like a champion stamp, finalist, semifinalist, all the way down to top 32. So I bought the number one Pikachu along with the champion stamp all the way down to the top 32 stamp. And I paid 20K for the whole set of them. So maybe I paid 15K for the trophy and 5K for the stamped festivals. In the boom, I ended up selling that number one card for 100K.
Wow.
So it's like I like the
Yeah.
card. I valued it at 15 grand, but when the market went as crazy as it did, it's like I can't justify owning $100,000 card. The most valuable
hmm
card I own today is I think that Mario Pikachu. That Mario
hmm
Pikachu and that PSA 9 first edition Shining Gyarados. They're both in the same vicinity, 2.5, somewhere in there. And that's a lot. That's so much money. Like part of me is like I almost feel like I should sell them, but the one was a gift, so I won't let myself. And then
hmm
the other one, it's just my favorite art in the hobby, and it's like the one card. I guess the PSA 8 Shadowless Charizard too, but it's one of the few cards that I let myself keep that I really really enjoy.
hmm Yeah, that's crazy. That is so cool though. That's a wild flip too. Um, on that championship card. Yeah, I mean, I would same thing. I would be like, well, kind of have to sell it. It's worth too much now. That'd be
Yeah, it
hard to
was
hold on to a card of that value.
going back to like valuing a PSA like 9. It's like I could either own this card or I could like buy a new car for my family and have this clock and have 50 other cards and have it's like
Right.
comparing the two, it's like I really like this card, but I also really like all these other things all together.
hmm Yeah. We talked about this earlier, but someone's asking about your palette gain video. Um,
Next few weeks, yep. This
okay.
month.
So next few weeks, keep a lookout for that. Um, Off topic, but what is your favorite anime?
So I'm not, I remember, I think you asked Ryan this one too.
Yeah, I
I'm
did.
not a massive anime guy. Honestly, my
Okay.
answer would be like Pokemon. I
Okay. It's
tried.
fair.
So back when I watched that, sorry, back when I bought that collection, I actually gave Dragon Ball Z, and this might be like blasphemy, and some people might hate me after this. I tried Dragon Ball Z for a few episodes. I tried Naruto for a few episodes, and they just didn't like click. I don't know.
Sure.
I wasn't, but Pokemon, I've watched Indigo League back in the day. I didn't watch it a ton, but I watched some. I've rewatched it with my kids. I've watched the Pokemon movies and I've watched some of the new Pokemon anime. I'm a big Pokemon guy, but I've had people recommend several to me. At some point I'll have to try again. But Naruto and DBZ just weren't doing it for me.
Okay. No, I mean, especially well, especially if you watch them. I feel like some of those, like Dragon Ball Z, watching them like a little bit more now, if you hadn't watched them as a child, some of the stuff
There's no
or
nostalgic
younger.
connection. Yeah, no
Yeah, so
nostalgic connection whatsoever.
I can see I can see why that is. But yeah, there's a lot of really great anime out there right now. Stuff's crazy. But I was just curious. It's a fun question to ask. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop is one that I bounced off of as well. Trust is saying Cowboy Bebop is short and easy to fall in love with. I tried to watch Cowboy Bebop and kind of same thing. I just kind of bounced off. Yeah, Toonami back in the day. That's what got me like Dragon Ball Z on Toonami. That was the thing for me. Yeah. All right. So once again, last chance for questions because things are drying up. So we're going to probably wrap up the stream here. I'll give it maybe another few minutes just as things are ending. If anyone has any last minute things, Ronan's saying, yeah, solo leveling, absolutely top tier. I absolutely love solo leveling. Amazing. Definitely my favorite new anime. A lot of people saying to try solo leveling. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in giving a new one a go, solo leveling is top tier.
I just pulled it up in a tab, so it'll be in my search history.
Okay,
I'll
really
bookmark
worth it.
the search so that I remember.
Yeah, perfect. Let's see. What would you rather invest in? 5 Paldea booster boxes or 3 Fusion Strike or 1 Evolving Skies booster box holding 5+ years?
Oof, these ones are so tough. It's interesting because like I have all of these sets. I have 1 case of Evolving Skies. I think I only have 2 cases of Fusion Strike. I probably have 12 cases of Paldea Evolved. So I feel like the most honest answer is like where my actual money is. It's like I feel like I must like the Paldea Evolved better, given that I have that much more of it, right? I guess you could make the argument like dollar-wise, I have nearly as much. I guess my dollar-wise is still more. I have more in Paldea Evolved, but I would lean that way. It's not like a very confident thing though. Like I just truly don't know. Is Evolving gonna do what Team Up's doing? Is it gonna be $5,000 in a few years? Definitely could happen. Could Paldea be $1,000 in a few years? And proportionally, like which one's more return? It's hard to say. It's impossible to say actually.
Right.
What do you think on that one?
Well, like you said, it's kind of a really tough question, and I don't think anybody can predict it 100% properly. But I don't think you could go wrong with either. But currently, I'm still more leaning Sword and Shield a little bit. I mean, maybe 3 Fusion Strike sounds real enticing as somebody who just bought Fusion Strike at $500 a box. Okay, so that's I don't know. That's where I would go, I guess. That's where I put my money. But
one thing I'll say,
not that I don't have Paldea and I have some Evolving Skies, and those are very expensive though as well. Like I do acknowledge, like that's a lot of money to spend on boxes. But I guess I would lean Fusion because that's literally what I did. So more recently.
And one thing I love about these 3, I love them so much more than Destined at 300. I love them so much more than Journey at like 230 or whatever. Like I like the 3 choices for sure.
What's your worst buy?
There's so many ways I could go with this because I've been here 11 years. Like I've definitely made some boo-boos. Back in the day, kind of how like you said when you got back in, you made some bad buys, ripping product. So I could come from that angle, ripping products and just losing a ton of money relative. So in some regards, like those are some of my worst buys because I lost a bunch of money, but the experience, like I wouldn't go back on it. So I couldn't really classify that as my worst buy. I've bought from like Japanese websites. I've bought $1,000 card that ended up having a crease in it. That ended up I just lost most of my money on. I guess one thing. It's behind me, but like original Metazoo, I bought a fair bit of that. Those are probably some of my worst buys ever. I bought a fair bit of original Metazoo. It didn't go to 0, but it didn't go too far from 0. So we'll see. We'll see how the new one goes. But those are probably, as far as like percentage return, percentage loss, all like most of the Metazoo stuff I bought definitely.
Gotcha. Um, yeah, I would say for me, uh, ripping product, like I said, anything that I just opened that was really dumb, for the most part. But there was a few slabs that I had bought in, that definitely have come down in value. Did not time those the best. Not that it's down horribly per se, but that is the risk with singles in general. So for me, it definitely was some PSA 10s that have dropped. Not a ton, but a few that just it hurts to think like, okay, I overpaid for that, which is fine. It happens. You can't time everything perfectly, but mostly that if you hold the sealed long enough, even if you bought high, you're probably going to end up okay eventually. But yeah, with the singles, that probably for me, a few PSA 10 spur of the moments. So
Yeah.
all right, I think that's gonna conclude it for this one. Thank you so much to everyone who stopped by, who liked, comment, watched. Huge shout out to Dan for jumping on for an hour and 45 minutes, making the time out of his schedule. So like I said, link is in the description. Go check out his channel, show him some love. Appreciated everyone as well. And yeah, the chat was pretty good. You guys had a great time. So is there anything else that you want to shout out or plug or talk about to end it?
No, I'm Ketchum All Collectibles everywhere. And appreciate you for throwing the link below. I appreciate you very much for reaching out. Always love chatting with new people, meeting new people. The cards are awesome. The clocks are awesome, but the people are the best thing in the space. This group of people in this space, so many great people. So nice to add another one to my repertoire, I guess. Another person that I met. Hopefully we cross paths at a convention someday. Thanks everyone in chat, making it a nice engaging 100+ minutes. Great convo. So hope everyone has a great day, great night, whatever time it is where you're at.
Perfect. All right, and with that, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one, and remember, it was never a phase.